The crowd roars as spotlights sweep across the runway. Camera flashes illuminate Eliza Morgan, 32, ethereal in her triumph, bowing as the audience gives a standing ovation to her debut collection. Her eyes scan the crowd, locking onto a familiar face, James Morgan, 35, handsome but cold, watching from the front row with a beautiful woman whose features mirror Eliza's own. The scene shifts abruptly. Eliza stands in a stark white room, her wrists bruised from restraints, hair disheveled, eyes wild. A medical chart hangs from her door. Patient 4721. Eliza Morgan, acute psychosis with delusional features. "My baby isn't missing," she whispers to a disbelieving nurse. "They took him. They planned everything." A doctor writes in a notepad. Patient continues to fabricate conspiracy theories regarding infant son's disappearance. Eliza's voice rises over a montage of locked doors and medication cups. "One day you'll all see the truth. And when that day comes..." Her words cut off as a sedative takes effect. Through the observation window, Dr. Nathaniel Hayes watches her with unreadable eyes. "Sometimes," he murmurs. The line between delusion and terrible truth is thinner than we'd like to believe. 2 years earlier. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows of the Collins Design House headquarters in Newport, Rhode Island. Eliza Morgan stands at a drafting table, fingers smudged with charcoal as she sketches a gown. At 30, she radiates focused creativity, intelligent eyes, graceful movements, an heiress who actually earned her place in the family empire. "The spring collection needs something unexpected," she says, not looking up as her assistant places coffee beside her. "Something that feels like coming home after you thought you'd lost everything." Her phone vibrates with a text from James. "Don't forget dinner with investors tonight. Wear the blue dress I bought you." Eliza sighs, tucking her phone away. She moves to a crib in the corner of her studio, where baby Noah, 6 months old, sleeps peacefully. Her entire demeanor softens as she adjusts his blanket. "Your mommy's going to build something amazing for you," she whispers. "Something that's ours, not theirs." The door opens, and Victoria Collins, 60s, immaculately coiffed and iron-willed, sweeps in. She's Eliza's aunt and the matriarch who raised her after her parents' death. "The board meeting started 10 minutes ago," Victoria says, eyeing the baby with barely concealed impatience. "James is already there, covering for you. Again. I'm finalizing the designs you wanted," Eliza replies, straightening. "And Noah's nanny called in sick." Victoria's lips purse. "You have responsibilities beyond that child, Eliza. Your parents built this company with their blood and talent. Since their accident, I've dedicated my life to preserving their legacy, and I'm grateful." Eliza finishes the familiar speech. "But Noah is my priority." "Is he?" Victoria's gaze turns calculating. "Or is he your excuse?" "Everyone wonders if you're truly committed to this company, especially since you insist on this domestic experiment. Your cousin Rebecca could have stepped in as creative director, yet I chose you." Eliza gathers her sketches. "I never asked for special treatment." "No," Victoria agrees coldly, "but you accepted it. Now prove it wasn't wasted." As Victoria leaves, Eliza's phone buzzes with another text, this time from Rebecca Collins, 31, her cousin. "Board's waiting." James looks concerned. "Need help with Noah?" Eliza texts back. "I've got him. Be there in 5. She scoops up her sleeping son, his weight a comfort against rising anxiety. "Just you and me against the world, little man," she whispers. "And we're stronger than they think." The Collins Design House boardroom buzzes with tension. Eliza enters with Noah in her arms, every head turning to stare. James Morgan, 33, her husband of 3 years, stands at the head of the table beside Victoria. His handsome face tightens at the sight of the baby. "Sorry I'm late," Eliza says, taking her seat. "The nanny is something we can discuss later." James cuts in smoothly, his smile not reaching his eyes. "Gentlemen, my wife's dedication extends beyond the office, as you can see." Muted chuckles ripple through the room. Eliza feels heat rise to her cheeks, but keeps her expression neutral as she settles Noah on her lap. "Perhaps Rebecca could take him to your office," Victoria suggests with brittle sweetness. Rebecca Collins rises from her seat, all sleek blonde perfection contrasting with Eliza's more artistic appearance. "Of course, I'd be happy to." "No, thank you." Eliza's voice is firm. "He'll stay with me." James continues his presentation on quarterly projections, each word a subtle undermining of Eliza's department. While our traditional lines perform consistently, the experimental Morgan collection remains a significant investment without proportional returns. The Morgan collection needs time, Eliza interjects. The critical response. Critics don't pay our investors, James replies with exaggerated patience. Your artistic vision is admirable, darling, but this is a business. Noah begins to fuss. Eliza bounces him gently, aware of the judgmental glances. Victoria sighs audibly. This is precisely why mixing motherhood and executive responsibilities remains problematic. I've prepared alternatives, Rebecca offers, producing a folder. Designs that maintain Eliza's vision but with commercial appeal. Betrayal slices through Eliza as Rebecca unveils modified versions of her designs. Simplified, safer, stripped of their essence. When did you do this? Eliza asks quietly. Rebecca smiles. James thought it prudent to have options. Noah begins crying in earnest. Eliza stands, dignity battling humiliation. Excuse me for a moment. In the elegant bathroom, Eliza changes Noah with trembling hands, fighting back tears. They're trying to push me out, she whispers to her son. Your father, Aunt Victoria, even Rebecca. The door swings open. Rebecca enters, her expression concerned but eyes calculating. You're making yourself look unstable, Rebecca says. James is worried about you. Is that why you went behind my back? Rebecca approaches, touching Eliza's arm. We're family. I'm trying to help you keep what matters. And what's that? Eliza asks, pulling away. Balance, Rebecca answers. Before you lose everything. As Rebecca leaves, Eliza catches her reflection. Designer clothes rumpled, hair coming loose, dark circles under her eyes. A woman barely holding together two worlds. They want me to choose, she tells her baby. But they don't understand. They've never understood that I won't give up either one of you. The Morgan Collins estate sits perched on Newport's coastline, a modernist glass and stone structure that feels more showcase than home. Inside, Eliza moves through the expansive kitchen, preparing Noah's bottle while fielding calls on her earpiece. The fabric supplier in Milan is threatening to pull out, her assistant says through the line. They claim payment is 3 months overdue. Eliza frowns. That's impossible. I signed those transfers myself. Accounting says James countermanded the order. Something about cash flow priorities. The bottle warms as Eliza processes this. Tell them they'll have payment by tomorrow. I'll handle James. She ends the call as James enters, impeccably dressed for work. He kisses her cheek, a practiced gesture. You're up early, he notes, pouring coffee. I thought you'd sleep in after the board meeting. I would have, but our Italian supplier called. Eliza keeps her tone light. Apparently they haven't been paid. James sighs. We had to reallocate funds. The Morgan collection isn't generating sufficient revenue to justify premium materials. That's not your decision to make unilaterally, Eliza argues. My department has its own budget. Our company has one bottom line, James counters. Victoria agrees with my approach. Noah fusses in his high chair. James glances at the baby, irritation flickering across his features. Can't the nanny handle that? We're discussing business. Maria doesn't start until 9. Eliza tests the bottle temperature. And Noah's not a that, James. He's your son. James checks his watch. I have a breakfast meeting with Victoria and potential investors from New York. The ones interested in expanding our menswear line? Among other opportunities, James replies vaguely. Don't wait up tonight. We're dining in Boston. The doorbell rings. James stiffens slightly. That must be Rebecca. She's joining us for the pitch. Rebecca? Eliza raises an eyebrow. I wasn't aware she was involved. She has excellent relationships with the New York fashion circles, James replies smoothly, and they respond well to her approach. Rebecca enters without waiting for an invitation, stunning in a designer suit. Morning, family. She bends to kiss Noah's head, then Eliza's cheek. The car's waiting, James. Eliza notices the casual familiarity between them, the way Rebecca's hand lingers on James's arm. I should be part of these discussions, Eliza says. The spring collection is my vision. You have Noah, Rebecca reminds her with a sympathetic smile that doesn't reach her eyes. We're just laying groundwork. Besides, your designs need refinement before presentation. Refinement or replacement? Eliza challenges. James checks his phone. We're late. Eliza, we'll review everything tonight. As they leave, Eliza stands in her pristine kitchen, isolation settling around her like a shroud. Through the window, she watches James open the car door for Rebecca, their heads bent close in conversation. "They're planning something," she tells Noah, who babbles in response. "And whatever it is, it involves pushing us to the side." She takes a deep breath, resolve hardening. Time to remind them whose name is on the building. The Collins Design House creative department hums with activity as designers prepare for the upcoming seasonal presentation. Eliza strides through, Noah in a carrier against her chest. Whispers follow her. The heiress who brings her baby to work. The creative director whose husband manages the finances. The niece whose designs are being quietly modified by her cousin. Marcus Winters, 45, the company's veteran head of production, intercepts her. His loyalty to Victoria spans decades. "There's been a change to the production schedule," he informs her. "The Morgan collection has been moved to limited release rather than featured placement." Eliza stops. "By whose authority?" "Executive decision. Victoria and James signed off this morning." "Without consulting the creative director?" Eliza's voice rises slightly, causing heads to turn. Marcus shifts uncomfortably. "Rebecca presented a compromise. Your core designs remain, but with her modifications for wider appeal." Before Eliza can respond, Victoria appears, Rebecca at her side. "Eliza, dear, I hope to catch you before the morning briefing." Victoria's smile is practiced. "You remember Julian Frost from Vogue." Julian Frost, 50s, fashion critic whose reviews can make or break designers, steps forward. "Eliza Morgan. And this must be the baby I've heard so much about." "Julian." Eliza greets him with professional warmth. "I didn't know you were visiting today." "Last-minute arrangement," Victoria explains. "Rebecca reached out when she learned he was in Newport." Rebecca beams. "Julian's been giving invaluable feedback on our direction for spring." "Our direction?" Eliza questions. "Family enterprise," Julian comments. "How refreshing to see cousins collaborating instead of competing. Rebecca was showing me the modified sketches, brilliant commercial adaptations of your more conceptual ideas." Victoria cuts in smoothly. "Julian, let me show you the workshop. Rebecca, perhaps you could accompany us?" As they depart, Victoria whispers to Eliza, "Control yourself. The Morgan collection is too experimental. We're salvaging what we can." Left alone, Eliza notices her assistant, Zara, 26, hovering nearby. "They've been doing this all week," Zara confides. "Rebecca's been here every morning before you arrive, showing Victoria revisions." Eliza's phone buzzes with a text from James. Investors loved Rebecca's pitch, extending meetings through weekend, taking her to NYC to meet Bergdorf buyers. While reading, Eliza nearly collides with Dr. Daniel Foster, the family physician who has treated the Collins family for years. "Eliza," he greets her, "I was looking for you. Victoria mentioned concerns about your energy levels and focus. She thought perhaps postpartum depression." "I'm fine," Eliza interrupts sharply. "Victoria should worry about the company, not my mental health." Foster eyes her professionally. "Sleep deprivation can impact judgment. The pressures you're under, career, motherhood, marriage, they're considerable stressors." "Are you here as our doctor or Victoria's spy?" Eliza challenges. Foster's expression hardens. "I've known your family since before you were born. Perhaps you should consider that concerns about your stability come from those who care most." Noah begins to fuss. Eliza adjusts his carrier, suddenly aware of the watchful eyes around her. "If I needed medical advice, doctor, I would schedule an appointment," she says coldly. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a collection to salvage." As she walks away, Eliza hears Foster on the phone. "Yes, Victoria, I've seen her. The behavior is concerning. Paranoia, irritability, difficulty focusing. Worth monitoring." Eliza clutches Noah closer. "They're closing ranks against us," she whispers. "But they don't know how strong we are together." 1 week later, Boston General Hospital's psychiatric wing gleams with sterile efficiency. Eliza sits in an evaluation room, her designer clothes exchanged for hospital-issued attire, her wrists raw from earlier restraints. After Noah's disappearance during a family outing and her subsequent breakdown at finding James and Rebecca together, Victoria had her committed for observation. The door opens, and Dr. Nathaniel Hayes enters. Early 40s, with intelligent eyes and a quiet confidence, He carries himself with none of the condescension Eliza has come to expect from the staff. "Mrs. Morgan," he begins, then corrects himself. "May I call you Eliza? Does it matter what you call someone whose words aren't believed anyway?" She responds bitterly. Nate takes a seat across from her, reviewing her file without the usual clinical detachment. "I've been assigned to your case. I specialize in trauma and complicated grief. Convenient diagnoses when a woman becomes inconvenient," Eliza retorts. Rather than dismissing her comment, Nate considers it. "That's an interesting perspective. Would you elaborate?" The unexpected respect in his tone catches Eliza off guard. "My baby disappeared. Instead of looking for him, my family had me committed because I accused my husband of having an affair with my cousin. And you believe these events are connected?" "I know they are." Eliza leans forward. "The timing is too perfect. Noah vanishes during a family picnic. While everyone's searching, I return to the cars early and find James and Rebecca together. 2 days later, I'm declared unstable and locked up here while they control my company." Nate makes notes, his expression thoughtful rather than judgmental. "The official record states you attacked your husband and cousin, claiming a conspiracy. Wouldn't you react strongly if you found your spouse with your relative moments after your child disappeared?" Eliza challenges. "I would," Nate acknowledges surprisingly, "especially if I already suspected something wasn't right." Eliza studies him, searching for mockery and finding none. "You're different from the others." "How so?" "You're actually listening, not just waiting for me to confirm your diagnosis." Nate sets his notepad aside. "Eliza, I want to understand what you're experiencing, not what others believe you're experiencing." For the first time since her admission, Eliza feels something crack in her defensive wall. "They think I'm delusional because I won't accept that Noah is gone. But a mother knows. He's alive, and they have him. Tell me about Noah," Nate encourages. As Eliza describes her son, his laugh, his favorite stuffed elephant, the birthmark shaped like a crescent moon behind his right ear, Nate watches with unexpected recognition flickering in his eyes. "You seem familiar," Eliza says suddenly. "Have we met before?" A moment's hesitation. "I don't believe so. I would remember." But there's something in his expression, a flicker of shared history unacknowledged. "I'm going to help you sort through this," Nate promises. "But I need your trust, and I know that's in short supply right now. Why would you help me when everyone else has decided I'm broken?" Nate stands, straightening his jacket. "Because sometimes the system gets it wrong, and because everyone deserves at least one person who believes them." As he reaches the door, Eliza calls after him. "What if you discover I really am delusional?" Nate turns, his expression serious. "Then we'll face that truth together. But Eliza, I've treated many patients with delusions. They rarely have your clarity or consistency." For the first time since Noah's disappearance, Eliza feels a flicker of hope. "Thank you, Dr. Hayes." "Nate," he corrects with a small smile. "My friends call me Nate." "Are we friends now?" Eliza asks, skeptical but warming. "No," he answers honestly, "but I think we might be allies." 3 weeks into Eliza's institutionalization, rain lashes against the windows of the group therapy room where Eliza sits apart from the others, sketching designs on approved paper with a dull pencil. Her appearance has improved, less haggard, more focused, but isolation remains her shield. Nate enters, nodding to the group therapist before approaching Eliza. "Mind if I join you?" She shrugs, continuing to sketch. "It's your facility. Actually, I've been meaning to ask about your designs," Nate says, examining her drawing. "I recognized your signature style from fashion magazines." Eliza looks up, surprised. "You follow fashion?" "I have varied interests," he replies with a small smile. "Your last collection before..." He pauses, recalibrating. "Your Morgan collection was innovative. Wearable architecture, the critics called it." "You really did research me," Eliza remarks, uncertain whether to be flattered or concerned. "I research all my patients," Nate answers, but something in his tone suggests special attention. "How are you feeling today?" "The same. Drugged enough to be compliant, alert enough to know I'm being contained rather than treated." Nate lowers his voice. "I've reduced your medication. The attending physician didn't agree, but as your primary psychiatrist, I overruled him." Eliza studies him. "Why would you do that?" "Because sedation isn't treatment," he replies, "and because I need you clear-headed for our conversation today." Later, in a private consultation room, Nate sits across from Eliza, a recorder deliberately placed but not activated. "Your family visited yesterday while I was off duty," he begins. "Victoria and James," Eliza confirms flatly. "Came to check if I'm ready to sign the power of attorney papers yet." "And Rebecca?" Nate asks casually. "Too busy playing mother to my son to visit," Eliza answers bitterly. Nate's expression remains neutral, but his fingers tap slightly against his notepad. "What makes you certain Noah is with Rebecca? The same nurse who administers my evening medication mentioned seeing a baby with a crescent-shaped birthmark behind his ear when she did a home evaluation for Rebecca Collins, who's apparently seeking to adopt." Nate's eyebrows rise slightly. "You've been gathering information. Wouldn't you, in my position?" He acknowledges this with a nod. "I've been reviewing police reports from the day Noah disappeared." He slides a folder across the table. "Open it when I leave." Eliza's heart races. "Why are you doing this?" Nate hesitates, conflict evident in his expression. "Let's just say I have my reasons for believing you deserve a closer examination of your case. Personal or professional reasons." Something flickers across his face, regret, perhaps, or hidden knowledge. "Both. But I need to be careful. Your family has considerable influence. They've threatened you," Eliza realizes. "Not directly." Nate stands. "Victoria Collins sits on the hospital board. 2 days ago, she inquired about my treatment approach, suggesting a colleague might be better suited to your case." Eliza feels cold dread. "They'll remove you if you help me." "Probably," he admits. "But I became a doctor to help people, not advance my career through political maneuvering." As he moves to leave, Eliza reaches for his hand, the first voluntary human contact she's initiated in weeks. "Why do I feel like you know more than you're saying?" Nate looks down at their connected hands. "Because I'm still putting pieces together myself." He gently withdraws. "Trust is earned, Eliza. I'm working on earning yours." After he leaves, Eliza opens the folder to find a police report with a crucial detail highlighted. A witness statement describing a woman matching Rebecca's description carrying a crying infant to a car 30 minutes before Noah was reported missing. Beneath it, a handwritten note from Nate. "Memory from that day. Crescent-shaped birthmark, right ear. Connection?" Eliza's hands tremble. Not only might Nate believe her, but he might have seen Noah the day he disappeared. She quickly hides the folder as a nurse enters with medication. For the first time since her commitment, Eliza takes the pills with compliant ease, her mind racing with possibilities. The game has changed. She has an ally, perhaps more than an ally. But as hope rises, so does suspicion. What exactly does Nate know, and why did he wait until now to reveal it? 2 months into Eliza's institutionalization. The hospital garden offers limited privacy, but Eliza and Nate have found a secluded bench beneath a maple tree. Autumn paints the leaves crimson as they sit reviewing her progress reports. "Your cognitive assessments show no signs of delusional thinking," Nate explains, professional despite their growing closeness. "Your reactions to stress fall within normal parameters for someone experiencing trauma." "Yet I'm still here," Eliza observes, the wind catching strands of her hair. "Your family insists you're not ready." Nate's frustration bleeds through his clinical tone, and without external support systems, release becomes complicated. Eliza watches a leaf spiral down between them. "You mean without someone willing to take responsibility for the unstable fashion heiress?" "You're far from unstable, Eliza." The conviction in his voice warms her more than the autumn sun. Their hands rest inches apart on the bench. Neither acknowledges the proximity, yet both are acutely aware of it. "I've been sketching again," Eliza offers, changing the subject. "A new collection. I'm calling it Reclamation. May I see it?" She hesitates. "It's personal." "I understand." Nate respects the boundary, though disappointment flickers across his features. "It's not that I don't trust you," Eliza explains. "These designs, they're my plan, for after." Nate studies her, professional distance momentarily forgotten. "You've been strategizing. Wouldn't you?" A smile touches his lips. "Always 3 steps ahead." "Survival instinct," she replies. Their eyes hold longer than is professionally appropriate. Nate breaks the connection first, glancing at his watch. "I have news," he says more quietly. "I've located a nurse who was working in pediatric emergency the day Noah disappeared. She remembers a baby with a crescent-shaped birthmark." Eliza's breath catches. Was it Noah? She can't confirm identity, but the timing aligns. The child was brought in for evaluation by a woman claiming to be his mother. The description matches Rebecca. What was wrong with him? Fear edges Eliza's voice. Nothing serious. Mild dehydration, possibly from heat. He was treated and released. Nate hesitates. I'm trying to access security footage, but hospital administration is being difficult. Victoria, Eliza guesses darkly. Nate nods. Your aunt has remarkable influence. She built half the pediatric wing, Eliza explains. The Collins family name opens doors and closes them. Impulsively, Eliza reaches for Nate's hand. His fingers curl around hers, warm and steady. I shouldn't, he murmurs, though he doesn't pull away. Shouldn't what? Comfort a patient? Or believe her when no one else will? The professional barrier between them strains, months of shared confidences and growing connection, crystallizing into something neither can safely name. Both, Nate admits. My objectivity is compromised. I should transfer your case. Don't you dare, Eliza whispers fiercely. You're the only one who sees me. The real me. That's the problem, he confesses. I see too much. A hospital orderly appears at the garden entrance, signaling the end of outdoor time. Nate reluctantly releases her hand. I have a meeting with the ethics board tomorrow, he says. Victoria has raised concerns about my treatment approach. Alarm flashes across Eliza's face. They're trying to separate us. They won't succeed, Nate promises. But Eliza, we need to be careful. The closer we get to the truth, the more dangerous it becomes, she finishes. I know the Collins family better than anyone. As they walk back toward the building, maintaining professional distance, Nate murmurs, There's something I haven't told you. Something from before. But the orderly approaches, preventing further conversation. Eliza catches Nate's troubled expression, before he masks it with clinical detachment. Tomorrow, he promises. We'll talk tomorrow. As he walks away, Eliza wonders what revelation waits beyond tomorrow's horizon, and whether it will strengthen their tenuous bond, or shatter it completely. The hospital administrator's office exudes wealth and influence. Original artwork, leather furniture, expansive views of Boston's skyline. Victoria Collins sits opposite Administrator Lawrence Phillips, 60s, whose deferential body language speaks to the power of Collins' donations. Dr. Hayes is becoming problematic, Victoria states without preamble. His attachment to my niece has crossed professional boundaries. Phillips nods obsequiously. I've noticed his unorthodox approach. However, his reputation in trauma therapy is unparalleled. I'm not questioning his credentials, Victoria replies coolly. I'm questioning his objectivity where Eliza is concerned. The door opens and James Morgan enters, immaculately dressed in a designer suit, from Eliza's collection, ironically. Apologies for my tardiness, he offers smoothly. The quarterly earnings meeting ran long. How is the company performing? Phillips inquires. Exceptionally well under the circumstances, James answers with practiced humility. Rebecca's adaptations of Eliza's concepts have been commercially successful. The board is pleased. Victoria turns the conversation back to her agenda. We need Dr. Hayes reassigned. On what grounds? Phillips asks cautiously. His treatment notes are meticulous, and Eliza's improvement under his care is documented. That's precisely the concern, Victoria interjects. Her improvement is superficial, adaptive behavior designed to facilitate release. Dr. Foster, our family physician, reviewed her case and believes she remains a danger to herself and potentially to Noah if he's found. James produces a folder. These are Eliza's sketches, confiscated from her room yesterday. The recurring motifs of shattered glass, scissor imagery, and what appears to be a child surrounded by thorns suggest ongoing violent ideation. Phillips examines the designs with a layman's eye, missing the artistic symbolism of rebirth and protection in the sketches. Concerning, he agrees, though his hesitation suggests uncertainty. But replacing her doctor could destabilize progress. Progress toward what? Victoria challenges. Dr. Hayes is building a fantasy where Eliza's conspiracy theories are validated. He's encouraging delusion, not treating it. There's something else, James adds, his expression grave. We've discovered Dr. Hayes and Eliza may have a connection predating her treatment. Phillips straightens. What kind of connection? They attended the same university, Victoria explains. Hayes was 2 years ahead of Eliza at Yale. While we have no evidence of a relationship, the failure to disclose this connection represents an ethical breach. I'll speak with him immediately, Phillips assures them, ethical concerns overridden by donor relations. Across the hospital campus, oblivious to the meeting, Nate sits in his office reviewing an old yearbook. His finger traces a photograph of a younger Eliza at a campus fundraiser. Brilliant, carefree, standing among Yale's elite. He closes the book quickly when his office phone rings. "Dr. Hayes," he answers. "You need to see this," his research assistant says urgently. "I found hospital records from the day Noah Morgan disappeared. A child matching his description was admitted through emergency, but the records were modified 24 hours later. The attending physician was Dr. Daniel Foster, Victoria's personal physician," Nate confirms, pieces clicking into place. "Is there video surveillance?" "Deleted," the assistant reports. "But I recovered timestamps. The child was brought in at 2:17 p.m. by a woman registered as Rebecca Collins. Discharge occurred at 4:05 p.m., 8 minutes before Noah was reported missing at the park." Nate's expression hardens. "They staged the disappearance. There's more," the assistant continues. "I found a partial backup of a deleted video file. You were there that day, Dr. Hayes. You spoke with the woman and child in the hallway." Nate freezes, fragmented memories resurfacing. A crying baby with a distinctive birthmark, a distressed blonde woman claiming to be the mother, his offer of directions to the pharmacy. "I need that footage," Nate says urgently. "And Eliza needs to know." A sharp knock interrupts him. Administrator Phillips stands at the doorway, his expression grim. "Dr. Hayes, my office, now." As Nate follows Phillips, neither man notices Rebecca Collins watching from around the corner, phone in hand, already texting Victoria. Hayes knows. Accelerate the timeline. The ethics committee convenes in a sterile conference room. 5 senior medical professionals, Administrator Phillips, and Dr. Hayes seated before them. The atmosphere crackles with tension. "Dr. Hayes, this review concerns your treatment of patient Eliza Morgan," the chief ethics officer begins. "Specifically, allegations of unprofessional attachment and conflict of interest." Nate remains composed. "I maintain all interactions with Mrs. Morgan have remained within therapeutic boundaries. Yet you failed to disclose your prior acquaintance," Phillips challenges. "Yale University, class of 2006 and 2008 respectively. We attended the same university with thousands of other students," Nate clarifies. "We never interacted directly. I recognized her name when assigned her case, but saw no conflict requiring disclosure. Your treatment notes show increasing advocacy for Mrs. Morgan's version of events," another committee member observes, "including unauthorized investigation into her son's disappearance. My role includes assessing the validity of her perceptions," Nate counters. "If evidence suggests her experiences are grounded in reality rather than delusion, ethical treatment requires acknowledgement." The committee exchanges glances. Phillips interjects, "Evidence? Or confirmation bias driven by personal interest?" Before Nate can respond, the door opens. Victoria Collins enters with Dr. Foster at her side. "Mrs. Collins." Phillips rises. "The committee didn't expect—" "I apologize for the interruption," Victoria says smoothly. "As Eliza's legal guardian during her incapacitation, I believe my perspective is relevant." "Of course." Phillips acquiesces immediately. Dr. Foster places a folder on the table. "I've reviewed Dr. Hayes' treatment approach. His methodology encourages Eliza's paranoid narratives rather than addressing the underlying psychological break triggered by grief. With respect," Nate responds, maintaining professional calm despite his rising anger. "Mrs. Morgan shows no clinical signs of psychosis or paranoid delusion. Her distress stems from genuine trauma, losing her child and being disbelieved by her support system." Victoria's expression hardens. "Dr. Hayes, your professional opinion is noted. However, as someone who has known Eliza since childhood, I recognize patterns of instability that preceded Noah's disappearance." "Convenient timing to mention this now," Nate observes. "Dr. Hayes," Phillips warns. Nate straightens. "The committee should know that hospital records from the day Noah Morgan disappeared show inconsistencies. A child matching Noah's description was brought to emergency by Rebecca Collins hours before he was reported missing at the park." A ripple of surprise crosses the committee members' faces. Victoria interjects smoothly. "Rebecca brought her godson, Noah, for a checkup after he showed signs of heat exhaustion. This was before the family picnic where he later disappeared. Dr. Foster can confirm as he consulted on the case." Foster nods. "I reviewed the child personally. He was released in good health to Ms. Collins, who then brought him to the family gathering. Yet the timeline doesn't align with witness statements," Nate challenges. And why was the surveillance footage from that day deleted? Standard privacy protocol. Foster answers without hesitation. Patient confidentiality in pediatric cases is strictly enforced. The committee chair raises a hand. While concerning, these allegations are tangential to the matter at hand. Your professional conduct, Dr. Hayes. My conduct is precisely about seeking truth, Nate insists. If Eliza Morgan was institutionalized to silence her rather than treat genuine mental illness, that's quite enough, Victoria interrupts, her composure slipping slightly. This conspiracy theorizing demonstrates exactly why you should be removed from Eliza's case. The committee deliberates briefly before reaching a decision. The chair addresses Nate gravely. Dr. Hayes, pending full review, you are temporarily suspended from treating Eliza Morgan. Dr. Foster will oversee her care in the interim. You are instructed to have no contact with the patient until this matter is resolved. As the meeting adjourns, Nate approaches Victoria in the hallway. You won't get away with this. Victoria studies him with calculated assessment. Dr. Hayes, your concern for my niece is admirable if misplaced, but consider the consequences of pursuing this crusade. Your career, your reputation, all at risk over what? A disturbed woman's fantasies? Or a powerful family's secrets? Nate counters. Victoria's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Everyone has secrets, doctor. Even you. She leans closer, including what really happened when you crossed paths with Noah that day. The security footage may be deleted from hospital servers, but not from private backups. Nate pales slightly. What are you implying? Nothing yet, Victoria answers. But should you continue interfering, the narrative could easily shift to suggest your inappropriate fixation with Eliza stems from guilt over your own involvement in Noah's case. After all, you were the last medical professional to see him before his disappearance. As Victoria walks away, Nate stands frozen, facing an impossible choice. Abandon Eliza to people he knows are manipulating her, or risk not only his career, but potentially his freedom based on twisted half-truths he can't entirely disprove. His phone buzzes with a text from his research assistant. Secured copy of partial surveillance footage. You need to see this now. 3 days after Nate's suspension, Eliza sits in a group therapy session, her expression vacant, her hands mindlessly folding a piece of paper into intricate patterns. The new attending psychiatrist, Dr. Reynolds, observes with clinical detachment. Mrs. Morgan, would you like to share your thoughts today? Eliza looks up, her compliance a calculated performance. Nothing relevant to share, doctor. Your medication adjustment seems to be helping, Reynolds notes with satisfaction. Yes, Eliza agrees hollowly. Much better now. The session ends, and Eliza walks the corridor toward her room, shuffling like other heavily medicated patients. But once inside, her posture straightens, her eyes sharpen. From beneath her mattress, she retrieves a small note slipped to her by a sympathetic nurse. N says trust no one. Playing along buys time. Evidence secured. A soft knock at her door. The same nurse enters with medication. Dr. Foster added a new sedative to your regimen. She explains loudly, then whispers, Don't swallow it. Hayes sent instructions. Eliza nods imperceptibly, accepting the cup. Later that night, Eliza feigns sleep as her door opens. Dr. Foster enters with an orderly. Increased sedation has stabilized her, Foster observes clinically. Schedule the transfer for tomorrow night. The private facility in Vermont has been arranged. The family approved this? The orderly asks. Victoria Collins signed the papers this morning, Foster confirms. Long-term psychiatric care is in everyone's best interest. After they leave, Eliza rises silently, retrieving the swallowed pills from where she's hidden them beneath her tongue and mattress. She moves to the window, calculating. 3rd floor. Concrete below. Not an option. A movement in the courtyard catches her attention. Nate stands in shadows, looking up at her window. Their eyes meet across the distance. He raises his hand slightly, a phone visible in his palm. A text message arrives seconds later on the contraband phone the sympathetic nurse smuggled to her. Evidence in hand. Records of Noah's admission day. Can prove conspiracy. Meeting tomorrow with independent psychiatrist for second opinion. Hold on. Hope flares momentarily before doubt extinguishes it. What if this is a trap? What if Victoria discovered their alliance and is using Nate to test her? Eliza texts back. Why should I trust you? Tell me something only you would know. His response comes quickly. The crescent birthmark behind Noah's right ear. I noticed it when I gave directions to Rebecca in the hospital hallway that day. I'm the unidentified doctor in the surveillance footage. I didn't make the connection until I saw your sketches of him. Eliza's hands tremble. You saw my son? The day he disappeared? Yes. And I think I unwittingly helped them take him from you. I've been carrying that guilt since I realized who he was. That's why I fought to be assigned to your case. I need to make this right. Revelation crashes through Eliza like a tsunami. Nate wasn't just a compassionate doctor. He was a witness. Perhaps even an unwitting accomplice. Before she can process this fully, her door opens again. Dr. Foster returns with 2 orderlies. Mrs. Morgan, he announces formally. We're adjusting your accommodations for security purposes. Eliza quickly hides the phone. It's the middle of the night. Nevertheless, Foster insists as the orderlies approach. Recent concerns about your safety necessitate immediate action. My safety? Eliza challenges. Or your conspiracy? Foster's expression hardens. That's exactly the paranoid ideation we're addressing. Prepare for transfer. As the orderlies secure her arms, Eliza manages to type a final message to Nate. They're moving me now. Foster back with orderlies. Help! The phone falls from her grasp as they lift her onto a gurney, administering an injection despite her struggles. Standard protocol for transfer, Foster explains clinically as darkness encroaches on Eliza's consciousness. Nothing to be concerned about. Her last coherent thought before sedation claims her. Nate knows. Nate saw Noah. Now he too is in danger. Nate paces his apartment, phone clutched in his hand, panic mounting with each unanswered text to Eliza. The timestamp shows her last message. Help was sent 3 hours ago. His research assistant, Maya, 28, sharp-minded and fiercely loyal, works at his laptop. Hospital records show no official transfer order, but security logs indicate a patient transport at 2:17 a.m. through the service entrance. That's her, Nate confirms grimly. Foster's moving her off-grid. Without proper authorization? That's kidnapping. Not if Victoria signed the papers, Nate explains. As her legal guardian, Victoria can authorize transfer to any facility, even against medical advice. Especially then, the Collins family doesn't just donate to hospitals. They own board members. Nate rubs his face, exhaustion battling determination. We need leverage. Maya turns the laptop toward him. I may have found some. Security footage recovered from backup servers. It's corrupted, but shows enough. The grainy video plays. A hospital corridor from 2 years earlier. Rebecca Collins carries a fussing infant toward the exit. She appears distressed, looking over her shoulder repeatedly. A doctor approaches, Nate, offering assistance. She speaks urgently. He responds, gesturing toward the pharmacy. The timestamp matches exactly 8 minutes before Noah was reported missing at the park 3 miles away. I helped her, Nate whispers, collapsing into a chair. I gave her directions to leave with Eliza's son. You couldn't have known, Maya insists. I should have noticed something was wrong, Nate argues. The baby was crying. She was nervous. I thought she was a worried mother. He stares at the frozen image, self-recrimination washing over him in waves. Eliza trusted me, and all this time, I was part of what happened to her. You were manipulated like she was, Maya reminds him. But now you have proof. Proof that implicates me, Nate points out bitterly. Victoria already threatened to twist this against me. His phone rings, an unknown number. He answers cautiously. Dr. Hayes. Victoria's voice sounds almost amused. I believe we need to discuss terms. Where is she? Nate demands. Safe, Victoria replies. Receiving appropriate care away from your influence. What you're doing is illegal. Hardly, Victoria counters. I have signed statements from 3 psychiatrists confirming Eliza's paranoid delusions pose a danger to herself and others. I have documentation of your ethical violations and inappropriate relationship with a patient. And I have video showing your interaction with Noah before his disappearance. Quite suspicious without context. Nate's grip tightens on the phone. What do you want? Your silence, Victoria states simply. Destroy whatever evidence you believe you have. Submit your resignation citing personal reasons and move on. In exchange, Eliza receives comfortable care, and you avoid criminal charges for interfering with a vulnerable patient. And if I refuse, then things become unpleasant for everyone. Victoria's voice hardens. Particularly for Eliza, who might find herself transferred to a state facility rather than the private retreat where she currently resides. The line goes silent as Nate struggles with impossible choices. Maya watches his internal battle. "You can't give in," she urges. "Eliza needs you. She needs freedom," Nate corrects, voice breaking. "And right now, I'm her worst advocate. They've outmaneuvered me." He moves to the window, staring into darkness. "I failed her. I failed Noah." "Not yet, you haven't," Maya insists. "But you will if you give up." Nate turns, tears of frustration and guilt shining in his eyes. "I've been arrogant, thinking I could beat them at their own game. They've been planning this for years while I've been playing catch-up for months. So we change the game," Maya suggests. "If we can't beat them through official channels, we go public." "With what?" Nate challenges. "Corrupted video? Medical records we obtained illegally? My word against the Collins empire? With the truth," Maya answers simply. "Somewhere in all their perfect planning, they made mistakes. We just need to find them." Nate stares at his reflection in the window, a broken man facing his worst failure. The only mistake they made was not realizing how far I'd go to make this right. He picks up his phone, dialing with renewed determination. It's time to call in every favor I've ever earned. The Vermont facility rises from the countryside like a medieval fortress disguised as a wellness retreat. Stone walls, manicured grounds, and discreet security. Inside, Eliza lies in a private suite that feels more luxury prison than hospital room. Dr. Foster checks her vitals as she gradually regains consciousness. The sedation was stronger than intended. "My apologies." Eliza's mouth feels like cotton. "Where am I?" "Ridgeview Retreat," Foster answers. "A private mental health facility specializing in long-term residential treatment." "Long-term," Eliza repeats, the implications sinking in. "You're burying me." Foster adjusts her IV. "We're helping you, Eliza. Your family wants you to recover in peace away from triggering environments." "Like the truth?" she challenges weakly. "Like Dr. Hayes," Foster corrects. His unprofessional attachment was impeding genuine progress. The door opens, admitting James and Rebecca. The sight of them together, perfectly coordinated in designer outfits from her collection, sends rage coursing through Eliza's veins. "How is she?" Rebecca asks with manufactured concern. "Adjusting," Foster reports. The transfer was more stressful than anticipated. James approaches Eliza's bedside, all performance for Foster's benefit. "We're doing what's best for you, Eliza." "Where is my son?" Eliza demands, struggling to sit upright. Rebecca steps forward, placing a restraining hand on Eliza's arm. "Noah is safe and happy. That's all you need to know." "He's my child," Eliza hisses. "Is he?" James challenges quietly. "The DNA test suggests otherwise." Eliza freezes. "What?" Foster clears his throat uncomfortably. "Perhaps this conversation should wait until—" "No," Eliza interrupts. "What DNA test?" James produces a document from his briefcase. "Conducted during your initial hospitalization. Standard procedure for cases involving custody concerns." Eliza scans the results, her world tilting on its axis. "This is impossible." "Not impossible," Rebecca corrects with barely concealed triumph. "Just inconvenient for your narrative. Noah is James's son, but not yours." "You falsified this," Eliza accuses, throwing the papers aside. "Noah has my mother's eyes, my grandfather's birthmark." "Coincidence?" James dismisses. "The truth is, you had a psychotic break when you discovered Noah wasn't biologically yours. The surrogate we used—" "Surrogate?" Eliza's voice rises incredulously. "I carried him. I gave birth to him." "You believe you did," Foster interjects gently. "Your medical records show otherwise." Eliza's mind races, struggling against the sedation still clouding her thoughts. "My medical records at Boston General were destroyed in the record system crash last year," Foster finishes smoothly. "Fortunately, as your family physician, I maintained backup copies confirming Rebecca served as gestational surrogate for your embryo. Unfortunately, the lab mistakenly used her egg instead of yours." The perfectly constructed lie leaves Eliza momentarily speechless. They've thought of everything, created an alternative reality where she's not even Noah's mother. "Why this elaborate charade?" she finally asks. "Why not just divorce me and take the company?" "Because you're a Collins," Victoria answers, entering the room. "The company shares are tied to bloodline, not marriage. James needed you declared incompetent, not divorced." For once, Victoria offers unvarnished truth, and the cold calculation in her eyes chills Eliza to her core. And Rebecca? What does she get? Everything you had, Rebecca answers simply. Your husband, your child, your company, your life. My designs, Eliza realizes. She couldn't create her own, so she stole mine. Rebecca flinches slightly, a small victory that Eliza treasures. Victoria steps forward. Enough of this. Dr. Foster. Ensure Eliza remains comfortable but secure. The facility director understands she's prone to manipulation and escape attempts. As they turn to leave, Eliza calls after them. You won't win. Nate knows everything. James pauses at the door. Dr. Hayes has tendered his resignation, effective immediately. Apparently, the ethics investigation revealed more significant violations than initially suspected. The door closes behind them, leaving Eliza alone with the devastating realization that her last ally has abandoned her. Unknown to her, 60 miles away, Nate sits in a dingy motel room with Maya, surrounded by documentation and a growing timeline on the wall. His phone rings, a lawyer friend with connections at Boston General. You were right, the lawyer confirms. The adoption petition for Noah Morgan was filed by Rebecca Collins 2 weeks before he allegedly disappeared. The paperwork cited biological mother unfit due to mental instability, all backdated and rushed through with a judge in the Collins family's pocket. They planned everything, Nate realizes. The disappearance, Eliza's commitment, all of it. There's more, the lawyer continues. I found the original birth certificate. Eliza is listed as the biological mother. No surrogate mentioned. Nate's determination hardens. That's our opening. Now we need to find her before they convince her otherwise. 3 weeks at Ridgeview Retreat. Eliza sits in the sunroom, a sketchpad balanced on her knees, her appearance carefully cultivated, cooperative patient, responding to treatment. Her hair is neatly styled, her facility-provided clothes immaculate. Only her eyes betray the calculation behind the compliance. Dr. Miranda Chen, 40s, the facility's clinical director, observes from across the room. Your progress is remarkable, Eliza. Dr. Foster will be pleased when he visits tomorrow. Eliza offers a practiced smile. The medication helps. Everything seems clearer now. Clear enough to discuss Noah? Dr. Chen probes gently. Eliza forces herself to maintain composure. I understand now. The psychological break. It made me create false memories. That must be difficult to accept, Chen sympathizes. Truth often is, Eliza answers, the double meaning lost on the doctor. Later, alone in her room, Eliza retrieves her sketchbook from beneath the mattress. Not the sanitized version she shows her doctors, but her real work. Pages filled with timelines, floor plans, staff rotations, security protocols. She's been watching, learning, planning. A soft knock at her door. Nurse Whitman, 50s, enters with evening medication. How are we feeling tonight? He asks routinely. Accepting, Eliza answers with the appropriate dose of resignation. Whitman nods approvingly. Dr. Foster called. He's pleased with your progress reports. Eliza takes the paper cup of pills, noticing a folded note beneath it. Her pulse quickens, but she maintains her placid expression. These new meds make me so thirsty, she comments. I'll bring extra water, Whitman offers, stepping out briefly. Eliza quickly unfolds the note. DNA test falsified. Birth records confirm you as biological mother, NH. Her hands tremble. Nate hasn't abandoned her after all. Whitman returns with water. Eliza pretends to swallow her medication while palming the pills, a technique perfected over weeks. Thank you, she says, for everything. Something in her tone makes him pause, studying her with unexpected compassion. Sometimes healing means playing along until you're strong enough not to. His cryptic comment lingers after he leaves. Is he an ally or setting a trap? That night, Eliza can't sleep. Every plan she's made now requires recalculation with this new development. Noah is truly hers. Biological confirmation of what her heart always knew. The knowledge should bring comfort, but instead intensifies her isolation. Her son exists somewhere in the world, being raised by people who stole him, while she remains imprisoned by their lies. She moves to the window, watching moonlight cast shadows across the manicured grounds. The facility's beauty masks its purpose. Golden handcuffs for inconvenient relatives, addiction-battling celebrities, and others whose families can afford to make problems disappear discreetly. In 3 weeks, she's identified 7 staff members, memorized the security rotation, located blind spots in the camera coverage, but still no feasible escape route. The perimeter is too well monitored, the nearest town too far to reach on foot before they'd recapture her. Her door opens unexpectedly. Dr. Chen enters, expression grave. "I'm sorry to disturb you, Eliza, but there's been a development. Please come with me." Alarm bells ring in Eliza's mind. What kind of development? It's better if Director Collins explains herself. Victoria, here, in the middle of the night. Nothing good comes from such timing. In the administrative office, Victoria waits alone, her designer outfit incongruous at this hour. "Leave us," she instructs Chen, who complies immediately. Once alone, Victoria studies Eliza critically. "You're looking well, healthy, rational. What do you want, Victoria?" Eliza asks, dropping all pretense of docility. "To offer clarity," Victoria answers, sliding a newspaper across the desk. "Today's Boston Globe. Dr. Nathaniel Hayes was found dead in his apartment yesterday. Apparent suicide." The headline blurs before Eliza's eyes. "Disgraced psychiatrist found dead after ethics investigation." "No," Eliza whispers. "This is another lie. I wish it were," Victoria replies with convincing regret. Apparently, the pressure of the investigation, combined with personal entanglements, proved too much. Eliza stares at the photo of Nate, the room spinning around her. "You did this. Circumstances did this," Victoria corrects. "Poor choices have consequences, Eliza. For everyone." As the implication settles, true despair washes over Eliza for the first time since her ordeal began. Nate, her only ally, her connection to truth, perhaps something more, gone. The last thread of hope severed. Victoria watches the collapse with clinical detachment. "I thought you should hear it from family. The staff will monitor you closely for the next few days, given your attachment to Dr. Hayes." Eliza doesn't respond, broken in a way months of captivity couldn't accomplish. "There's one other matter," Victoria continues dispassionately. "Your divorce is finalized. James has offered generous terms, including lifetime care here at Ridgeview." The words barely penetrate Eliza's grief. Divorce, freedom, care, all meaningless without Noah, without justice, without Nate. As Victoria leaves, she pauses at the door. "Accept what you cannot change, Eliza. It's the first step toward genuine peace." Alone in the pre-dawn darkness, Eliza finally surrenders to tears. Not the calculated displays she's offered her doctors, but raw, devastating sobs of true loss. Her world hasn't just collapsed, it's been obliterated. 1 month after Nate's reported death, Eliza sits in group therapy, genuinely participating for the first time. Her affect is flattened, her once sharp gaze dulled. The fight has left her, replaced by resignation that her doctors mistake for therapeutic breakthrough. "I've been reflecting on delusional thinking," she offers when prompted. "How convincing false narratives can feel when we're in pain." Dr. Chen nods encouragingly. "That's insightful, Eliza. Acceptance is a crucial stage in recovery." After session, Eliza walks the grounds during allocated outdoor time. Her steps lack purpose, her shoulders hunched against more than just the autumn chill. Other patients and staff have grown accustomed to her silent wandering, a woman processing profound loss. Nurse Whitman approaches with her afternoon medication. "Beautiful day," he comments conversationally. Eliza accepts the paper cup without her usual scrutiny. "Is it?" Whitman studies her with concern. "You've stopped hiding your pills. What's the point?" Eliza asks dully. "Fighting delusions requires treatment. And which delusions are those? That my son was stolen. That my husband conspired against me. That Dr. Hayes," her voice catches, "that anyone could help me." Whitman glances around to ensure privacy. "Some delusions are actually truths no one else wants to see." Eliza looks up, momentarily alert. "Excuse me?" "Tomorrow," Whitman murmurs. "Package for you. Inside." Before she can question him, another staff member approaches, and Whitman resumes professional distance. That night, Eliza lies awake, Whitman's words echoing in her mind. A fragile tendril of hope unfurls despite her efforts to crush it. Hope has proven dangerous, a weapon her family wielded against her repeatedly. Morning brings routine. Medications, breakfast, therapy. Beneath the surface monotony, Eliza's senses sharpen for the first time in weeks. She watches Whitman during medication rounds, noting the subtle nod he gives her. During daily journal time, he passes by her table, dropping a small package disguised as a new notebook. Eliza conceals it within her regular journal, heart racing. Alone in her room, she unwraps the package to find a burner phone and a note. Not dead. Not safe to call. Evidence secured. Tribunal hearing your case next week. Foster falsifying medical records. Proof of original birth certificate found. Stay strong. Trust Whitman. NH. Eliza's hands tremble violently. Nate is alive. The newspaper. Victoria's elaborate lie to break her spirit. As validation surges through her, the door opens suddenly. Dr. Foster enters with an orderly she doesn't recognize. Eliza, Foster greets her. Surprise evaluation today. She quickly hides the phone beneath her mattress. I wasn't informed. Hence, surprise, Foster replies with unusual coldness. His gaze sweeps the room. You seem agitated. I'm fine, Eliza manages. Just startled. Foster gestures to the orderly. Please check Ms. Morgan's room for contraband. On what grounds? Eliza challenges. Security reported unusual behavior from Nurse Whitman, Foster explains. Concerns about boundary violations with certain patients. Panic flares as the orderly moves methodically through her belongings. When he checks beneath the mattress, Eliza closes her eyes, bracing for discovery. Nothing here, doctor, the orderly reports. Eliza's eyes fly open. The phone is gone. But how? Foster seems equally surprised but recovers quickly. Very well. Now, Eliza, I'd like to discuss a medication adjustment. Recent reports suggest you're experiencing heightened paranoia again. I feel more clear-headed than ever, Eliza counters. That's the concern, Foster notes. Your sudden clarity coincides with Nurse Whitman's irregular behavior. After they leave, Eliza searches frantically for the phone, finding nothing. Did the orderly take it without reporting it? Did she imagine the entire exchange with Whitman? At dinner, Whitman is notably absent. When Eliza asks another nurse about him, she receives a practiced smile. Personal emergency. He'll be out indefinitely. Later, Dr. Chen visits with evening medication, an unusual deviation from routine. We're implementing some staffing changes, Chen explains. And your treatment plan is being adjusted. Why? Eliza asks. Concerns about regression? Chen answers smoothly. Your divorce being finalized seems to have triggered some instability. The new medication looks different. Larger pills, different colors. Eliza recognizes stronger sedatives among them. Victoria called, didn't she? Eliza guesses. Chen's professional mask slips momentarily. Director Collins is concerned about your well-being. These adjustments are precautionary. After Chen leaves, Eliza spits the pills into her hand, hiding them in a small cavity she's created in her mattress seam. Something has spooked Victoria enough to escalate her containment. The timing with Whitman's disappearance and Nate's message can't be coincidental. As night falls, a new threat materializes, not just continued confinement, but complete chemical subjugation. Whatever hearing Nate mentioned must pose a genuine threat to Victoria's plans. For the first time in weeks, Eliza feels the ember of fight rekindling. The game has changed again, but this time, she's not playing alone. 2 days after Whitman's disappearance, Eliza sits in her bathroom, carefully emptying capsules of sedatives and replacing the contents with crushed vitamins and food particles. Her movements are precise, methodical, a woman reclaiming her agency one small deception at a time. The Eliza who emerged from grief is strategically different from both the broken woman of the past month and the obviously resistant patient from before. This Eliza presents as compliant but cognitively dull, shuffling through days with vacant cooperation that satisfies her observers, while concealing her reawakened determination. In her therapy session, Dr. Chen reviews her progress. Your acceptance of treatment is encouraging, though your affect remains concerning. The medication helps, Eliza responds with carefully calculated flatness. Everything feels manageable now, including your delusions about Noah. Eliza maintains vacant eye contact. I understand now. The break from reality. It felt so convincing. Chen makes approving notes. And Dr. Hayes? A genuine flash of pain, impossible to suppress entirely. A kind doctor who got too involved. I regret that. Grief is natural, Chen offers, even for inappropriate attachments. Eliza nods docilely, while inwardly cataloging Chen as another pawn in Victoria's game. Not malicious, perhaps, but complicit. That evening, during her scheduled shower, Eliza discovers something tucked inside her fresh towel, a folded note, and a keycard. The note reads, "Tomorrow, 2:15 p.m., fire alarm will sound. East stairwell unmonitored for 7 minutes during shift change. Key works on door at bottom. Car waiting in delivery area. Friend." Eliza memorizes the instructions before dissolving the note in water. Whitman? Nate? Someone else? It doesn't matter. After months of helplessness, a tangible escape plan electrifies her. The next morning, she carefully applies makeup using supplies from her limited toiletry allowance. Not to enhance her appearance, but to create subtle contouring that alters her face shape and shadows. She styles her hair differently, pulling it severely back in a way she's never worn during her confinement. At lunch, she secretly adds her stockpiled sedatives to her untouched juice, then leaves the tray at the communal clearing station where staff collect dishes, specifically where the newest night nurse takes her break. During afternoon free time, Eliza sits in the common room, appearing to read while actually watching the clock. 2:10 p.m. She casually moves toward the hallway bathroom near the east wing. 2:12 p.m. She slips the stolen keycard into her sock. 2:14 p.m. The fire alarm blares on schedule. Staff immediately implement evacuation procedures, directing patients toward the main exits. In the controlled chaos, Eliza ducks into the bathroom. Through the window, she watches staff escorting groups outside. When the corridor momentarily clears during shift handover, she slips out toward the east stairwell. The keycard works, a small miracle that sends a surge of vindication through her. After months of powerlessness, this simple success feels monumental. At the bottom of the stairs, she eases the door open, scanning for security. The delivery area appears deserted, except for a nondescript sedan idling near the loading dock. Gathering her courage, she sprints toward it. The passenger door opens from inside. "Quickly!" an unfamiliar female voice urges. Eliza slides in, heart pounding as the car accelerates smoothly toward the exit. Only when they're passing through the service gate does she turn to her rescuer. Maya, Nate's research assistant. "Dr. Hayes sent me," Maya explains. "We have 40 minutes before they realize you're gone instead of just missing during the fire drill confusion." "Where is he?" Eliza asks urgently. "Safe house," Maya answers, eyes on the road. The article about his death was planted to throw Victoria off while we gathered evidence. As the facility disappears in the rearview mirror, Eliza experiences a dizzying sense of liberation. She's escaped the physical prison, but the larger battle lies ahead. "I need clothes, hair dye, and a laptop," she states with calm authority that surprises even her. "And I need to know exactly what evidence you've secured about Noah." Maya glances at her with newfound respect. "Dr. Hayes said you'd be focused on your son, not yourself." "Noah is my priority," Eliza confirms. "But to get him back, I need to become someone Victoria, James, and Rebecca won't recognize. Not just in appearance, but in strategy. They expect emotional reactions. They won't expect calculated precision." Maya nods appreciatively. "We've set up everything you'll need at the safe house. Nate's been building a case while coordinating your extraction. We have 3 days before Victoria realizes you're not just missing but gone." As they drive through rural Vermont toward the Massachusetts border, Eliza stares out the window, her mind racing with possibilities. The broken woman from Ridgeview is gone, replaced by something new, a fusion of the creative designer she once was and the strategic survivor she's become. "They took everything from me," she says softly. "My son, my company, my identity. They thought it would destroy me." "Did it?" Maya asks. Eliza turns to her, a cold determination in her eyes that makes Maya flinch slightly. "It remade me. Victoria wanted to bury me, but she only planted a seed." 6 months later, the fashion world buzzes with excitement over the meteoric rise of enigmatic designer E.L. Revere, whose Renaissance collection has taken New York by storm. Industry insiders whisper about the mysterious newcomer who appeared from nowhere with revolutionary designs and refuses all photographs or interviews. Behind the scenes at the exclusive preview event, Eliza, now with darker hair, sharper features, and a completely transformed presence, oversees final preparations. No one in this room connects this commanding figure with the mentally unstable Eliza Morgan who disappeared from a private facility months ago. Her assistant approaches with a tablet. They've arrived. 3rd row. Center. Eliza glances at the security feed showing Victoria, James, and Rebecca taking their seats in the audience. Victoria looks slightly thinner, stress evident in her posture. James and Rebecca sit slightly apart. Trouble in paradise, perhaps. Perfect, Eliza murmurs. Is everything else in place? Yes. The documents will be distributed during the finale. Press packets contain the full investigation. Law enforcement has been notified to expect the evidence. Nate appears at her side, professional but protective. These months working together have transformed their relationship from doctor-patient to partners in a mission for justice. Are you ready? He asks quietly. Eliza straightens, drawing strength from all she's endured. I've been ready since the day they took my son. The lights dim. Models take their positions. The audience settles. E.L. Revere is more than a clothing line. Eliza instructs her team. Today, it becomes justice. As music fills the venue, the show begins. Each design a coded message that only the Collins family might recognize. Silhouettes that echo Eliza's earliest work. Color palettes from her office at Collins Design. A children's outfit featuring a small crescent moon embroidered behind the right ear, Noah's birthmark. From her vantage point, Eliza watches Victoria's growing unease, the slight furrow in her brow as recognition dawns. James appears oblivious, while Rebecca shifts uncomfortably, repeatedly checking her phone. The finale approaches, the moment when E.L. Revere traditionally would appear to accept applause, but never does. Tonight will be different. Nate squeezes her hand. Last chance to reconsider. Once you step out there, no going back, Eliza finishes. I know, but Noah deserves a mother who fought impossible odds to find him. The final model exits. The music shifts to a hauntingly familiar melody, the lullaby Eliza sang to Noah as an infant. The lights dim completely before a single spotlight illuminates the runway. Eliza steps into the light. Gasps ripple through the audience as recognition spreads. Victoria stands abruptly. James pales. Rebecca grabs for her purse, looking for exits. Good evening, Eliza's voice carries through the now silent venue. For those who don't recognize me, I'm Eliza Collins Morgan, designer, businesswoman, and mother. Security personnel discreetly block the exits as she continues. Some of you may have heard I suffered a mental breakdown, others that I abandoned my family. The truth is more complicated. Her gaze locks on Victoria, and much more criminal. Assistants distribute press packets throughout the audience. Journalists flip through pages with growing shock. Today's showcase isn't just about fashion, Eliza announces. It's about resurrection. About a woman declared insane for the convenience of those who sought to steal her child, her company, and her life. Victoria stands, attempting to project authority. This is slander. This woman is unwell. This woman, Eliza interrupts, has DNA tests proving Noah Morgan is her biological son, falsified medical records showing how you conspired with Dr. Foster to have me committed, and testimony from hospital staff about how you staged my son's disappearance. Law enforcement officers enter discreetly through side doors. But most damning, Eliza continues relentlessly, are the financial records showing how you, Victoria, orchestrated everything. Not just my commitment, but embezzlement from Collins Design spanning 20 years. Even James and Rebecca didn't know the extent of your betrayal. Victoria's composure cracks as James turns to her in shock. Rebecca begins edging toward an exit, only to find her path blocked. Officers, Eliza announces calmly, the evidence of kidnapping, fraud, medical malpractice, and embezzlement is in your hands. I believe you'll find it quite comprehensive. As authorities converge on the stunned trio, Eliza stands tall in the spotlight, not a victim reclaiming scraps of her former life, but a phoenix risen from deliberate ashes, more powerful than before. The fashion world witnesses not just a designer's return, but justice served on a runway built from courage and unyielding determination. The chaos following Eliza's revelation erupts into controlled pandemonium. Journalists shouting questions, photographers capturing Victoria and James being escorted out, industry power brokers witnessing the Collins empire implode in real time. Security creates a path for Eliza to exit the runway as Nate waits in the wings. Rebecca's slipped away, he warns. My contact at their penthouse confirms she's headed there. Eliza's expression hardens. Noah. Car's waiting, Nate confirms. Police are en route, but she'll run with him, Eliza finishes. We move now. They navigate through the backstage chaos to a service exit where Maya waits with a car. As they speed toward the Morgan Collins penthouse, Eliza's phone lights up with media requests and messages from stunned former colleagues. Victoria's lawyer is already claiming mental instability, Maya reports, monitoring news feeds. Calling the evidence fabricated. Expected, Eliza responds calmly. The DNA test results are incontrovertible. Everything else supports rather than establishes. The penthouse building comes into view, a glass and steel monument to wealth. Eliza studies the familiar entrance, calculating. Rebecca will use the service elevator, she determines. Less visible, direct access to garage. Inside the lobby, Eliza approaches the security desk with authoritative confidence. Eliza Morgan, my identification was stolen, but my biometrics remain in your system. The confused guard stammers recognition. Mrs. Morgan? But I thought that I was institutionalized? A common misconception my family profited from, she replies smoothly. Your system should still recognize me. The biometric scanner confirms her identity with a soft chime. The guard's confusion multiplies. But Ms. Collins just went up. She said that I'm dangerous? Eliza smiles tightly. Interesting position from a kidnapper. Police sirens wail in the distance as they ascend in the main elevator. Nate stays close, tension radiating from his protective stance. She's cornered, he cautions. Desperate people take desperate actions. I've lived desperate for 2 years, Eliza responds. I know exactly what it looks like. The penthouse foyer stands eerily silent when they enter. Signs of hasty packing litter the space. Open drawers, scattered clothes, a child's stuffed elephant abandoned on the floor. Eliza picks up the toy, fingers tracing the worn fabric. Noah's favorite, she whispers, rage and hope colliding inside her. A noise from the master bedroom draws their attention. They find Rebecca frantically stuffing documents and jewelry into a suitcase, her polished appearance now disheveled with panic. It's over, Rebecca, Eliza announces calmly. Rebecca whirls around, eyes wild. You, how did you… She lunges for her purse, reaching inside. Don't, Nate warns, stepping forward protectively. Rebecca's laugh holds an edge of hysteria. You think I'm afraid of you? The disgraced doctor and the mental patient? Where is Noah? Eliza demands. Safe from you, Rebecca spits. James and I are his legal parents. One dramatic fashion show doesn't change that. DNA tests, birth records, and kidnapping charges change quite a lot. Eliza counters, maintaining composure despite the rage surging through her. Where is my son? Rebecca's expression shifts, calculation replacing panic. He's not here. Victoria took him to the Hamptons estate this morning. Contingency plan. Eliza steps closer, unconvinced. You're lying. Am I? Rebecca challenges. You always were the favored one, Eliza. Victoria's precious niece, inheriting everything while I got scraps. Even when I took your husband, your company, your life, you still somehow win. This isn't about winning, Eliza responds. It's about justice. Justice? Rebecca laughs bitterly. You want to know the truth? Victoria orchestrated everything. Not for James, not for me, but for herself. The company was failing before you returned from maternity leave. Your designs were our only value, but you wanted to take a step back from motherhood. Eliza processes this revelation, pieces clicking into place. So Victoria created a scenario where you could steal my work while James controlled my shares. And I got what I always deserved. Rebecca confirms unapologetically. Your life, your vision, even your child. At the mention of Noah, something dangerous flashes in Eliza's eyes. Where is he? A child's cry echoes from down the hall, unmistakable to a mother's ears. Eliza turns instantly toward the sound. Rebecca uses the distraction to grab a letter opener from the desk, lunging toward Eliza with desperate fury. Nate intervenes, deflecting the attack, but taking a slash across his arm. Rebecca stumbles backward, wild-eyed as police sirens grow louder outside. It's finished, Eliza states with quiet finality. But Noah doesn't have to suffer for your crimes. Rebecca glances toward the bedroom where the cry came from, then back at the balcony doors. For a terrifying moment, escape calculations flash across her face. He calls me Mama, she says with cruel deliberation. He won't even recognize you. He will, Eliza responds with unshakable certainty. A child knows their mother, even across impossible distance. Police breach the penthouse entrance as Rebecca collapses in defeat, the letter opener clattering to the floor. Eliza rushes toward her son's cry, heart pounding with each step. The nursery door stands ajar, soft blue light spilling into the hallway. Eliza pauses at the threshold, overwhelmed by conflicting emotions, desperate longing battling terrible fear. What if he doesn't remember her? What if Rebecca's cruel words hold truth? Nate appears beside her, his arm hastily bandaged by paramedics. "Take all the time you need," he murmurs supportively. With trembling hands, Eliza pushes the door open. The room, once designed with her loving attention, has been redecorated, all traces of her influence erased. In a crib against the far wall, a small figure stands clutching the rails, tearful and frightened by the commotion. Noah, now almost 3 years old, stares at the stranger in his doorway. His features have matured, baby roundness giving way to a little boy's angles, but his eyes, her mother's eyes, remain unchanged. "Noah," Eliza whispers, frozen in place by overwhelming emotion. The toddler hiccups, studying her with the solemn evaluation only children can manage. For an agonizing moment, no recognition flickers in his expression. Eliza kneels, bringing herself to his eye level, and begins to softly hum the lullaby she sang to him every night of his infancy, the same melody that played during her runway revelation. Noah's crying quiets. His head tilts slightly, memory battling against time's passage. Slowly, Eliza approaches the crib, continuing the gentle melody. When she reaches the bars, she extends her hand, palm up, offering rather than claiming connection. "Hello, little moon," she whispers, using the nickname inspired by his birthmark. Noah studies her fingers, then her face. His small hand reaches out, touching her cheek with the innocent curiosity of childhood. Then, his fingers find her hair, tugging gently in a gesture so familiar it steals her breath. "He used to do that every night," Eliza explains shakily to Nate, who watches from the doorway. "When I rocked him to sleep." Something shifts in Noah's expression, not full recognition, but the intuitive trust that exists between mother and child beyond rational understanding. He raises his arms in the universal request to be lifted. With reverent care, Eliza lifts her son for the first time in nearly 2 years, cradling him against her heart. The weight of him, heavier now, more solid, feels simultaneously foreign and achingly familiar. Noah nestles against her shoulder, his small fingers finding their way back to her hair. The tension gradually leaves his body as some primal memory resurfaces. The scent, the heartbeat, the essence of his mother. Tears stream unchecked down Eliza's face as she rocks gently from side to side, a dance her body remembers even after everything that's happened. When Noah's hand brushes her wet cheek, she kisses his palm. "I found you," she whispers through tears. "I never stopped looking." From the doorway, Nate observes the reunion with his own eyes glistening. The clinical part of his mind notes the remarkable attachment preservation despite separation. The human part simply witnesses a miracle. Outside, the legal machinery grinds forward. Police questioning Rebecca, evidence being processed, media assembling barriers between tragedy and exploitation. But in this blue-lit room, time suspends around a mother and child finding their way back to each other, across an abyss of deliberate cruelty. When Noah eventually falls asleep against her shoulder, Eliza continues holding him, unwilling to break contact even briefly. "We should move him somewhere safe," Nate suggests gently. "Away from all this." Eliza nods, though her arms tighten protectively. "I can't put him down. Not yet." "You don't have to," Nate assures her, moving closer to support them both. "Not ever again." As they prepare to leave the penthouse, Eliza carrying Noah, Nate gathering essential belongings, she pauses at the nursery door for one final look at the space that held her son during their separation. "I imagine this moment every day," she confesses quietly. "Finding him, holding him again, but I never imagined how it would feel to leave this place knowing he's coming with me, that we're both free." Nate's hand finds hers, their fingers intertwining in the small space not occupied by Noah. The gesture holds no demand, only steady support. "Let's go home," he says simply. "Home," Eliza echoes, the word holding new meaning. Not a place, but a truth. Wherever Noah is, wherever they can be safe together, that's home. As they step into the elevator, Noah stirs slightly, his small hand curling instinctively around his mother's finger, a physical manifestation of an unbreakable bond that survived the worst of human manipulation. In that simple gesture lives every tear, every fight, every moment of determination that led to this reunion. 1 year later, sunlight streams through the windows of a coastal cottage, miles from Newport's opulence and painful memories. Eliza sits on the porch swing, sketching as 4-year-old Noah plays in the fenced garden, his laughter a balm that continues healing wounds time alone couldn't touch. The legal aftermath of Victoria's schemes resolved with surprising swiftness once evidence became public. Victoria and James received substantial sentences for fraud, kidnapping, and conspiracy. Rebecca's cooperation secured a lighter punishment, though her reputation lies in tatters. The Collins Design House, renamed simply Collins, now operates under Eliza's distant guidance, with a board selected for integrity rather than loyalty. Nate emerges from the cottage carrying coffee. Their relationship evolved cautiously, both aware of the complex foundation on which it was built. What began as doctor-patient became allies, then friends, and eventually something deeper, a connection forged in shared purpose and tempered by mutual respect. Noah wants to show you his sandcastle before high tide, Nate mentions, settling beside her on the swing. Eliza smiles, watching her son arrange shells with the same meticulous attention she gives fabric swatches. He has his grandmother's eye for detail, and his mother's determination, Nate adds. The Collins legacy worth preserving. The word legacy once carried burden and expectation. Now it simply means the values Eliza chooses to nurture in her son: creativity, resilience, compassion, born from knowing how fragile security can be. I received another offer from Bergdorf's, she mentions. Exclusive rights to the spring collection if I agree to public appearances. Are you considering it? Nate asks without judgment. Eliza contemplates the sketch in her lap. Designs bearing her name, not a pseudonym, for the first time since reclaiming her identity. Part of me wants to stay hidden forever, safe. And the other part? Wants Noah to see that fear doesn't get the final word, she admits. That his mother rebuilt from ashes, not just survived them. Nate's hand finds hers, the gesture comfortable now rather than tentative. You've earned the right to choose either path. That's the real victory, isn't it? Eliza realizes. Not the vindication or even justice, but reclaiming choice itself. Noah calls from the garden, proudly displaying his creation. Eliza sets aside her sketchpad to join him, kneeling in sand without concern for her clothes, a freedom the old Eliza never permitted herself. As she helps Noah add a shell to his castle, Eliza reflects on the painful journey that led to this peaceful shore. The Collins empire crumbled, but something more valuable rose in its place. A life built on truth rather than appearances, with foundations strong enough to weather any storm. When can we go see the big boats? Noah asks, pointing toward the harbor. Tomorrow, Eliza promises. We have all the time in the world. And for the first time since Noah's return, she truly believes it. 5 years after Noah's return, the Metropolitan Museum of Art buzzes with anticipation as New York's fashion elite gathers for the opening of Renaissance, the Eliza Morgan retrospective. The exhibition chronicles not just designs, but a remarkable journey from industry darling to survivor to visionary. Eliza stands before a glass case displaying her original sketchbook from the psychiatric facility, the plans and designs that became her path back to Noah and herself. The page shows a dress with a distinctive collar reminiscent of protective wings. This was the first piece I designed after understanding what had happened, she explains to the small group of fashion students surrounding her. Everyone sees the obvious symbolism of protection, but few notice the subtle motif repeated in the hemline. A student leans closer. It looks like keys? Eliza smiles. Freedom comes in many forms. Sometimes through doors we unlock ourselves. As the students move to the next display, Nate approaches with 9-year-old Noah, who looks increasingly like Eliza with each passing year. Did you show them the secret codes? Noah asks excitedly. Now old enough to understand his mother's story, he views her designs as something between art and superhero origin story. Some secrets are just for us, Eliza responds, ruffling his hair affectionately. Nate checks his watch. It's almost time for your speech. Eliza nods, momentary anxiety flickering across her features before resolving into determination. Public speaking still challenges her. Too many eyes, too many memories of being watched and judged during her confinement. Noah senses her hesitation and slips his hand into hers. Remember what you tell me about scary things? That brave isn't not being afraid. It's doing what matters even when you're afraid, she finishes, squeezing his hand gratefully. As they make their way toward the central gallery, Eliza passes displays chronicling her journey, the triumphant Reclamation collection that announced her return, designs from her rebuilding years, and finally, her current work that critics call revolutionary in its emotional honesty. The museum director introduces her to enthusiastic applause. Cameras flash as Eliza takes the podium, Noah and Nate watching supportively from the front row. Fashion is often dismissed as ephemeral, she begins. Designs come and go with seasons. Hemlines rise and fall, colors fade in and out of favor. But what we create, at its best, speaks to something timeless, the human capacity for reinvention. Her gaze finds Noah, drawing strength from his presence. We are not defined by what happens to us, but by what we choose to make from those experiences. Beauty can emerge from darkness, strength from vulnerability, truth from deception's shadow. As applause rises around her, Eliza's mind briefly travels back to that hospital room where she first sketched her path to freedom, a woman with nothing but determination and a mother's unyielding love. Later, as the three of them walk along the moonlit museum steps, Noah runs ahead, while Eliza and Nate follow hand in hand, their relationship having grown from trauma's ashes into something neither could have imagined during those darkest days. "Are you happy with how it turned out?" Nate asks, meaning both the exhibition and the larger journey. Eliza watches Noah's exuberant exploration of the world, secure, loved, free from the shadows that once threatened to claim them both. The design empire matters less now, though her creative voice remains powerful. What matters is this: her son safe, her life reclaimed, her heart healed enough to love again. "Not just happy," she answers, her voice carrying the quiet strength that became her signature, completely redesigned. As they descend the final steps, Eliza glances back at the museum where her story, both painful and triumphant, now serves as inspiration rather than wound. The shadows that once held her captive have been transformed into something entirely of her own creation. Noah calls to them from the sidewalk, impatient for their next adventure. Eliza and Nate move toward him, leaving the exhibition and the past it represents behind them. What remains is not the shadow of deception, but the light it could never extinguish. Your heart knows the way. Subscribe and follow the beauty.